Hey loves, welcome back to my channel. So today's video, I wanted to kind of do like a little planner chit chat and yeah, let's basically go from there. So I went ahead and I changed into this cover. This cover is from Printpressions. I had got this cover a few years, I want to say almost 3 years ago, and I just never used it. I never used it for what it was intended. I bought two. I bought the B6 and then I bought this personal. But I used the B6 and then I never used this one. I just kind of, played around with it and then I just put it off to the side. I like the Agenda 52 cover, but I wanted to use this one when I went through my stash of things and I saw this. I wanted to use this because obviously the elastic just allows me to hold a little bit more stuff. It lacks in terms of like that pen loop situation, and my pink band didn't necessarily fit the bill in terms of like with this binder, because it does have the back pocket on here. It didn't fit that, but that's okay. That's minor cosmetic. But I wanted to talk about my system today, and I wanted to kind of talk about some of the things that I added. So I'm not going to go into too much detail about, all the sections all over again, because I do have that video up about my official 2025 stuff. And if I'm being honest, I don't really like using the term 2025 lineup, planner lineup, because to me, this isn't like something that I really have a lineup of. Like, I didn't just decide that, okay, for 2025 I've got a whole new lineup of things and all that stuff. I didn't just randomly decide that. It's just that I was using bullet journals and I decided that I didn't want to draw out every little detail in my bullet journal this time around. So I chose a ring bound system, which allowed a lot of flexibility for me. So I don't really like using the term planner lineup, but I will say this is my 2025 system, planner system that I'm using. I also realized that I thrive solely off of a one book planner. So I can't incorporate anything else because it does stress me out to use multiple things. And I found that the best way to make a system more functional for me is to focus on that one system and not try to incorporate multiple things, because I'm not even allowing the system to work. When I do that, I know that there are a lot of people out there who have to separate work and personal life, and maybe they like to separate other things that they like in terms of like reading, their reading journals and their planner. But for me, I cannot separate. I have a hard time keeping up with multiple things. So everything needs to be in one place. In my mind, if it's out of sight, it's out of mind. And if it's right there, then I'm more keen to see it. That's the mindset that I have. And yeah, that works for me. So I've been working on my system mainly is because my overall goal, not so much of a New Year's resolution, but my overall goal is to spend less money and to use my planner as a real tool that will help keep me in alignment with the things that I want for myself. I want to do preschool with my son. I want to have him potty trained. He's behind in a lot of areas, and that's okay. Every child goes at their own pace, but I want to work more closely with my son. I want to be a better wife. I want to spend more quality time with my husband and put our relationship first, or second to God, but I want to put our relationship right up there. And I want to focus on my health and some of my own personal life goals and life areas. And the only way that I can see that is I've got to get good at managing time. I've got to get better at task management, prioritizing tasks. I've got to get better at that. And though I've been planning for a while and I kind of sort of have an idea of things that I want to do, I still struggle with basic time management and getting shit done. It's just the reality of it. Even with all the tools that are available to us, I still fall, in between the cracks of getting things done. So for myself this year, I want to be using my things. I want to focus on areas of my life and not specifically worrying so much about what kind of planner I'm using, what kind of pen I'm using. I don't want to worry about that. I don't want to focus on that. That is not the priority for me, at least anymore. What the priority for me is finding a system that can benefit me in the long run. That's what I'm prioritizing for myself this year. So a lot of life area things that I wanted to incorporate in my planner, a lot of little things. From the last video to today, I changed a few things. And of course, this is natural, this is normal, because I am going to be using this for the duration of the year. For however long I'm in this binder or in this particular setup, I'm going to be using it. And so if I'm going to be using it, I need it to be a place that I am willing to return to on a day-to-day basis. And I'm going to add things that I want to have available to me on a day-to-day basis. So I'm going to play around with it until I feel it's perfect. It's perfect. I like it. I have everything the way that I want. I'm going to play around with it until then. But for right now, the system is set in stone. So I'm using the day timer system. I really think that the system that I've chosen for myself is a good one. I don't care too much for the paper quality. That's not a big issue for me because I don't use fountain pens anyway, or really, really inky pens. So I really like this system, the way that it is set up for me. I think that a lot of the areas that I put into my planner this year will benefit me. I really liked this month on one page aspect after watching, I said his name was John before, but his name is actually Josh Laporte. And if you watched that last video and you've seen Josh's videos, he had a lot of helpful things, and I could learn to appreciate the month on one page. I have a monthly book, so I don't need to have a month on 2 pages to make up for whatever I'm lacking in this size. I have the day timer 2-year month on 2 pages, and I've been using that to jot down like bill due dates. I've been putting bill due dates in there. I've been putting like upcoming subscription renewal dates, things like that. That's where all the junk goes. But inside of my actual planning month, I'm trying to keep that open for appointment heavy, important appointment type information. I'm trying to keep it on a more, streamlined thing, because I don't really need to have it too cluttered, because I feel like when things become too cluttered, then you can't really see what the heck is going on. So for me, this system works perfectly. So though I had my planning section set up, I realized that after I filmed that video, I said, man, there are a few things that I need to have in my planner that help me as a mom. I am a stay-at-home wife. I take care of our son throughout the week. So I'm his preschool teacher. I'm his disciplinarian during the week. I'm his caretaker. I am all of those things. I'm mom, and I'm also a wife. And so I have my wife duties. And really it's just, being a good spouse, helping out where, I can lend help. And I am me, myself, and I. So I have to take care of myself in all of this. And then I have to help take care of our house because I'm here most of the time. I do try to take care of the house and keep the house picked up throughout the day. So, I have a lot of areas in my life, things that or roles that I play as well. Most of us do. So I went ahead and I had created these cleaning charts off my phone. I don't have any special app. I have a Samsung, I don't even know what it is. It has a stylus. I have a Samsung Z, I think it's Ultra, whatever. I have that. It has that Samsung app that I like to use. And I basically just went in there. I found a page template that I liked. And I typed this out on my phone. I sized it to what I wanted to size it as, and I printed it. It is a cleaning chart from Monday through Sunday. And I felt like this was something that I didn't need to necessarily have an insert for, but to have a card that is removable, because at least, and it's a 2-page card, at least if I have this on me, I can move this. Like if I have a list of things going on, I can move it around. I can put it where it needs to be, and I can follow, like I can write out like, the things that I'm working on or note take. But this is my guide. This is my cleaning guide. This is what I primarily follow. This is primarily what I do. So I just kind of sat down and thought about all the things that I usually do throughout the week and made a guide for myself, so that way, like I know what today is and I know what needs to be done cleaning wise, house wise, and yeah, I can fall from there. I did take the liberty in adding in, I did add in these trackers. I added these in here, and originally I didn't have these in here, but I added them in here because I realized that when I did my initial 2025 setup and I was showing everything, I said, yeah, I have the daily routine, I have the cleaning chart, but I was like, oh, I have the cleaning chart, but I have nothing to keep track of what I'm actually doing. So I only have 3 months, so 1/4 of trackers. And basically these are all of my cleaning tasks. And this is something that I also did, I want to say maybe a year or 2 ago. I did this where I had a chore chart of all the things that I do. And so everything that needs to be done, when I do them, I tick them off. And that's basically how I'm able to keep track of how often I'm doing something or how often something needs to be done. Everything doesn't need to be done on every day of the week. There are things that only need to be done once a week. There are things that need to be done every other day. There are things that need to be done once out of that month. And those things usually don't fall on this list, but it's good to know if I did it and what day did I do it in that month. So there are things in here pertaining to cleaning that I can tick off, and it goes back hand in hand with my cleaning chart. Having my cleaning chart and seeing where I am and what tasks need to be done, and then having this here and seeing what exactly I focused on. So this is just like a general breakdown of the task. This breaks it down by task description even further, just a little bit. Yeah, so I love this. I'm perfectly happy with how this system is set up. I love the flow that this system has because I feel like it will really benefit and aid in a lot of areas. I've started to use my trackers for health and wellness, and it will take some getting used to in terms of like having these areas in my life, or having these areas in my planner and ticking them off and making sure that I'm checking them. But I do like it. I haven't needed to check off any of the other stuff because obviously it's just like weight log and then these trackers. But outside of that, these are all things that I'm really excited to have in my planner. And yeah, I basically only added those 2 things because I felt like that was like a good idea to share with you in case that you are using rings yourself this year and you want to have and even in a bullet journal, you can do it in a bullet journal as well. But I thought that it was a good idea to share it just in case, like if you are in a ring bound system and you want to have some things to condense, so that way you're not writing out everything every single month, every single day, because it can get a little bit monotonous, like especially if you're time tracking and then you go down here and you have a list of all household things. So instead of writing out your daily household chore chart either here, you have a visual of everything that needs to be done for the day. So if today is Tuesday, or I'm sorry, if today is Thursday and you're focusing solely on bathrooms and stuff like that, then all you would need to do in your to-do area is write chores. And then when you come to your tracker area, you can type or you can check off what chores you did. These really all need to be in the same area, I'm feeling, but really it will all work out. It will all work itself out. But yeah, you can tick off what, you know, like what chores you did from this chore chart. So not every day you might do these things in exact order. You might choose, hey, today is not a good day and you only got one thing done, but at least you can check it off and say you did it. So yeah, I thought that this was a good idea to have or to share. I'm really liking the fact that I've been using the mild liners, and the mild liners do not bleed through on this paper. I haven't had any problems with bleed through at all, so it's holding up really nice. Writing on this paper is really, really nice as well. I like it. I have been enjoying using the daily. I find myself using this very similar to how I was using my bullet journal, whereas I would have my tiny to-do list and then I would have like a schedule of everything that I needed to do, like our routine type stuff. I'm still in the mix of remembering that I don't need to write out this. I don't need to write this out every single day, because now I have a card which basically tells me what everything is. But if I want to see it on a time stance, then it's good to have it written in there, even if it's bulleted points, and then, you know, just writing like whatever that I did during that hour. So if at 8 o'clock, instead of doing our AM routine, I did something else. So it's just good to see like what the heck I actually did. But I'm liking this area. I'm finding it useful. I think what I might do is start to break up some of those like notes, because what I find myself doing, I think I did it for today. This is a to-do list that I was working off of, but what I'm finding is that I took this short sheet of paper that I split so that I can pull it out. What I'm finding is that when I usually take notes, I usually write a topic and then write the note, and then I leave a space, write another topic note, and then I keep going. I usually do that. So I think it might be beneficial to just draw a distinctive line in between each note to help me read it a little bit better. But I'm really, really enjoying the day timer pages. I think that the system that I chose is going to work really, really great for me this year. And I do like the short trimmed note papers a lot, like the notepad. I like this. It's very like, it flows into the page. It just kind of looks like it's one page, but it is like a page that sits right smack dab in between the two. So I like being able to take this out because I slit the holes. So I like being able to take this out if I no longer need that note, or if that note doesn't apply, it's not relevant, and then throwing it away. But then I like having the notes that I want to keep with each day with the day. So I like having that to-do list and some of those like bigger notes kind of partially in there permanently. And yeah, I like this. I like this system. I like having this. Works to me kind of somewhat like a half sheet, like one of those half sheets. And I was looking for those, and I was considering purchasing those. Like maybe a principal, because I don't know, principles have just become like easier for me because I have faster access to it, and then I have access to refills should I need them, because I keep paper and ink and stuff on me anyway. It is an inconvenience to have to cut and punch and all that good stuff, but that's a small inconvenience for a life term of access. So yeah, I kind of use this as such, and I don't know, I'm gonna play around with it. I have stencils. There are a bunch of different things that I can do to make these little sheets really fit the bill. If I really want to, I could sit down and I can draw out other like little tracker type ordeals on here and then have them, instead of using like my daily pages to you know, hold all this useless information. But I don't need these every day, so I like them when I want them, like especially if there's something that I want to keep throughout the day and then just toss it when it's done. This works perfect for that, like especially for ideas that I want to transfer into something else. So because I am more predominantly a one type planner person, I don't really use two planners. I did consider using this, and I had set it up like a planner at first, but then I just realized like I didn't really want that. I didn't really want to deal with a monthly or nothing like that. So I labeled all of them. They are Journal Reference Notes Volumes 1, Journal Reference Notes Volume 2, and Journal Reference Notes Volume 3. So this is not a planner. Primarily what this is this is all that commonplace type stuff that I wanted to keep in my planner, but didn't necessarily want to keep it in my ring planner. This was some of the stuff that I liked having when I was using my bullet journal. So I'm kind of glad that my old bullet journal is right here close by, because now I can share it. So this was my bullet journal from this summer. If you remember this, then you remember how much I loved it. I used this bullet journal quite a bit. I still need to put the actual date that I finished this, but I used this bullet journal quite a bit, and as you can see, it has a lot of like reference stuff, but also like my task-based stuff. So a lot of my task-based stuff looked like this, and I liked this. This is something that I took from this is also something that helped me choose my 2025, is that I dissected, the way that I like to plan, and I found a system that kind of fits more closely with what I like. And I also really liked the commonplace type journaling aspect of the bullet journal, and I really wanted that. I think that was one of the hardest things that I had to come to terms with, is that when you're in a ring system, you have to kind of figure out what it is that you want and what you want to keep in there. And if I'm being honest, a lot of this commonplacing type stuff doesn't really fit into a ring system, because if it were me, I would want more of the planning stuff more than just the commonplace type stuff that we don't necessarily need to have. But if I'm being honest, this was something that I missed, and I still wanted this. I still wanted to keep this kind of information, but I realized that I don't need this kind of information all the time. So instead, I decided that instead of making this into a planner, I would just make it into a quarter type ordeal, or not even a quarter type ordeal, just a 3-book type ordeal, and they will be housed and kept into this traveler's notebook, and they're labeled journals 1, 2, and 3, so that in these journals I can journal, I can take notes. There's nothing in here now because it's brand new, but I can journal, I can take notes, I can do commonplace type stuff. And instead of moving these little books out, I can just move on to the next book. And then these, when these get full, then I can archive them as such. But I can also go back and forth while I'm working in the second or the third book. I can go back and forth between books and look at some of those notes, so I'm not writing the same notes. I don't know, this could work in a one book system, but I kind of like the idea of sectioning it out like this. I don't know, I kind of had the idea of a book per month in my head. I don't know. I've labeled them all the same to just kind of keep them basically identical in terms of archiving. But as time goes on, you know, we'll see where these books land and what kind of information I keep in them. But I thought that this was cool. This is something that I don't necessarily have to focus on every single day. It's not something that I necessarily have to open and look at every single day. It's just there for when I need it. So although I am a one planner type person, I did need a notebook that basically could house all the extra ideas, permanent type notes, things like that I wanted to keep but don't necessarily need to have them in my planner. I like note taking within my planner. I like having that aspect because, like I said, it allows me to keep my planning notes and important stuff together. But there are notes that I take that aren't necessarily planning or life important type notes. And I don't need to have that stuff in there. Like, I don't need to have a note in there about somebody's YouTube video that I watched. I don't need to have a note in there about the color that I wanted to use on my nails. I just, like, I don't paint my nails anyway, but I'm just kind of giving, like, I don't need to have that kind of stuff in here. I really just want it to be the kind of stuff that I need to actually focus on because I get very sidetracked. But outside of that, that's what I chose to do with this. And I feel no guilt if I decide to do away with it because, like I said, it's not something that I'm stressing over necessarily. It's not something that I actually need. It's just something that I wanted that makes me feel a little bit closer to a bullet journal. I'm sorry, I'm seeing fire trucks and all kinds of stuff roll down the street. This cover is 3 years old. It did not have a bookmark, so what I did is I stitched in a orange string. I don't know if you can see that. I stitched an orange string in, and that is acting as a bookmark. So now I have a little orange string bookmark that I put in there to use. And yeah, that's this. Nothing spectacular with this. I'm not really sure how life will turn out. I'm not really sure how I feel about, you know, every single aspect of planning. I just know that I am going to use some of the things that I have, excuse me, and allow myself to make the changes that I need to make within my planning. My throat is so dry from talking. I have talked a lot during this video. But yeah, I wanted to basically share my process in planning because, like I said, if these videos can help anyone in their process, I'm always happy when I get those messages that it was helpful or useful. It lets me know that I'm not just blabbing about nonsense. It's actually helping someone. And if that's the case, then I'm all for that. But I'm going to end the video here because I know that this video is long. I hope that you enjoyed today's video. I thank all of my new and returning subscribers. And I will see you guys hopefully in the next planner related video. Bye, loves.